Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari ST A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari ST games, some which I grew up with and some which are new to me. Today is sort of one of the former. I played the original demo version of this game an awful lot back in the day, but never owned my own copy, which is why I was so grateful when one of my patrons, Ken, came through and helped me acquire a copy of the Atari ST version. So after all these years, I finally managed to get my hands on it. And it's a game that's really special to me. So I'm very, very grateful to Ken for helping out with that. So once again, a big, big thank you for that. So Rodland, if you've not come across it before, was a 1990 arcade release from Jaleco. And it was ported to a wide variety of systems between about 1990 and 1993. The Atari ST version we'll be looking at today comes from about 1991. The ST and Amiga ports were handled by a couple of programmers, one named, let me try and get this right, Ronald Piket Vieserik, Dutch maybe, I don't know, and John Crowdy. And the former was interviewed by The One magazine about the Amiga and Atari ST versions, and he noted it was quite a straightforward porting process, thanks to the fact that the 16-bit home computers of the era were fairly comparable in power to the arcade hardware that Rodland was running on. So it was fairly straightforward to get it running at a decent frame rate with sort of an authentic amount of stuff happening on screen. And in the interview, Vieserik even said that he and Crowd had sort of taken the liberty to fix some of the issues they'd seen with the arcade version. The exact quote was that they had written the 16-bit versions the way the arcade version should have been written. So nice bit of self-confidence there. So Jaleco were pretty cooperative with this port, which certainly a far cry from some of the earlier arcade ports that people did to Atari 8-bit platforms in particular, where people pretty much had to do stuff without original design documents, without access to original hardware or software in some cases. But yeah, Jaleco actually provided all of the background art and sprites for this game. There were in the region of about 500 of them. Unfortunately, they provided them in 16 by 16 pixel blocks, all jumbled up and all the wrong colours. So what should have made the process much easier actually made it a bit more lengthy, because they then had to go through all these provided art assets, figure out what went where, what went with what, and that sort of thing. And Vieserik said in his interview that sort of the porting process would have probably gone a lot smoother if they'd either organised that in the first place or if they'd just taken care of the graphics themselves. But yeah, the upshot of all that is because Jaleco provided all the graphics for them, the graphics of this port in particular are very, very authentic to the arcade original, and the game in general is a really excellent port of a really fun arcade game. And like I say, I played the demo an awful lot, and that demo was one of my all-time favourite things to play on the Atari ST. So to finally have access to the full version, once again, thank you very much to Ken, one of my patrons. So let's go play Rodland. Okay, here we are with Rodland, one of my favourite games on the Atari ST, although, as I say, not one I ever actually owned back in the day. Let's play, and I'll show you how it goes. We've got a bit of a buggy high score table there, I must confess. Yeah, this is down to the fact that the version I'm recording footage from is a pirate copy, as usual, just because it's easier to get it running on the emulator and capture footage from it. But as you saw in the intro, I do have a legitimate packaged copy of this now, which is very nice indeed. So the concept of this is that Rit and Tam, who are two fairies, are trying to rescue their mum, who has been taken atop the Maboots Tower. And so the way you go about rescuing her is you visit various levels, you collect pretty flowers, and you kick the snot out of enemies by doing this. So the reason you might want to collect all the flowers is that it turns all the enemies into these extra monsters. And basically sort of a key part of the game is getting as many extra lives as possible by going through this bonus sequence as often as you can. And you're trying to spell out the word extra. And that's about it, really. It's basically that sort of single screen enemy clearing platformer that was kind of popularised by stuff like Bubble Bobble and so on. But just I've always really liked the way this game does things. Just the aesthetic of it, and the two-player mode and the absurdity of the way you defeat the enemies. Right, there we are. There's our first extra. You get the sexy fairy thighs. And an extra life. And 10,000 points. Enter the tower to rescue your mom. And we continue on our way. Yeah, so the further through the game you go, the wider variety of enemies you start getting as well. So once we're into the tower as we are here, we start getting these sharks who burst into tears at you and fling their tears at you. Well, they might be gobbing at you. Can't quite make it out. Either way, pretty gross. Yeah, the one thing I always found quite amusing about the home computer ports of this game was the marketing campaign for it. So this is obviously an incredibly cute anime-style Japanese game. But the marketing for the home computer versions used this horrendous art style that you can see on the packaging of the version that I've got. And the marketing tagline for the game, in the UK anyway, was "So cute it'll make you puke." And it just seemed like a really weird way to market a game like this. But, well, that's what they went with. And it still attracted my attention, so... There we go, another extra. Fairy thighs. So yeah, aside from the loading breaks, this version of Rodland is incredibly true to the arcade original. Oh no, gonna die. Yeah, it's incredibly true to the arcade original. The graphics are very authentic. Even the sound effects and music are pretty good. I mean, they're not ideal because, you know, Atari ST sound chip and all that. Oh, I think we might have to pass up on the flowers this time around. Or do we? Well, we can stay ahead of Sharky Boy here. Yeah, there we go. We can get a letter out of it at least. He's following us, the little bastard. Get over there. Better than nothing. I just love everything about this game. I love the graphics, I love the animation, I love the characters. I really love the characters. As you'll know if you read my articles about this and Soldam on Moe Gamer. Rit here was one of my first video gaming loves, I must confess. And yeah, I think this game was probably the start of my fascination with sort of Japanese games and the anime art style and that sort of thing. It's because I found the look and feel of this game to be so incredibly appealing. So yeah, if you hadn't noticed, the sort of core mechanic in this is hitting the enemies with your stuff and then thwacking them over your head. But you can also create ladders going up and down the screen as well. So you have no jump button in this. Oops. But instead you create ladders. And that allows you to get around. Oh, I've done it again. Oh, they're all together now at least. That makes things a bit easier. And then float off ahead of them, like that. And drop down onto this little... Oh, missed. Well, that works for me. Sod it, just kill him. So yeah, you can't wander off the side of the screen in this one and come back on the other one or anything like that. Uh-oh. That's going to be awkward. Oh, missed. We can deal with this. You're a powerful ass-kicking fairy. Oh, no. I'm a fairy who is bad at landing in the right place, apparently. There we go. Oh, I can't reach him. And you can't attack while you're on the way down. Well, this is going to be a challenge, isn't it? Just going to have to... I guess that'll do. Yeah, despite the cuteness, this is not a terribly easy game at times. And you don't have any continues in this Atari version either. You just have to go right back to the beginning every time you die. Let's have another go, because I do like this game. Help, etc. Yes, we know. Right. Try and stock up as many extra lives as we can. X for extra. E for extra. Oh my god, that's like so extra. Or whatever it is that you kids say these days. Who am I kidding? There's no kids watching this. You hear that, copper? It may be so cute it'll make you puke, but it's not for kids. Get out of here. Tea, please. Thank you. This is one of the few games where I feel the Atari ST sound chip is actually being used reasonably well. It's making good use of the actual capabilities of it. And it's not trying to do anything too ambitious with it. Nope, 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 nope. Oh no! And the result is a game that sounds genuinely good. Community! Thank you. And yeah, the whole thing just runs really smoothly and slickly as well. That was like one of the big things the programmers were saying in that interview in the One magazine. Is that because the 16-bit computers were so powerful compared to other stuff that was around at the time, they were able to put together an arcade version that was really authentic to the original. So like, if you do have a look at the original arcade version of this, the only real difference is that the colours are slightly more vibrant, particularly on like the fairy skin tones. And the sound's a little bit better. But that's about it. Other than that, it's a very good conversion. There's also an NES and a Game Boy version of this as well. Those were handled by different people. And they have a few differences. Like the NES version, as I recall, has a whole sort of second set of levels, which just weren't in... Oh no! They just weren't in the arcade version at all. Which is really interesting. It sort of uses a lot more robotic enemies, rather than the sort of cutesy stuff we've got going on here. Oh, you cheeky bastard. I am not standing for this nonsense. Would like to at least get to the first boss in this, as the bosses in this are really fun and very silly, as you can probably imagine. You can't escape me. Lovely. Okay, yes, I have squandered all my extra lives up until this point, but, well, what are you going to do? Pew! There are times when you just need to cut your losses and continue. Right, this level was a real pain in the ass. It's because the arrangement of them. If I build that up there, they'll... Yes, that's what you do. So you build a ladder up there so they then come down and you can pick them off one at a time. That makes things much more manageable. You leave me alone. No! No! Well, that's no good, is it? You get over there. I want my extra life back. Ah, please. There we go. That little wink animation does things to me. So adorable. Right. Stop giving me the shitty weapons. Oh no, that's fine too. Oh, can't believe you killed me like that. Boom! We're not the boss yet. Yeah, I was reminded of this game relatively recently. I mean, I've always liked it and everything, but I was reminded of its existence by the release of a puzzle game on Nintendo Switch a while back called Soldem. And the original arcade version of Soldem was actually the sequel to Rodland, despite being a completely different kind of game. It's a puzzle game rather than a platformer. But yeah, it just made me think, oh yeah, Rodland. I really like Rodland. Why you stop splitting? It's not a thing you're supposed to do. But yeah, Soldem's a really interesting game because it's a puzzle game based around the mechanics of Othello, or Reversi, or whatever you want to call it. So it's a falling block puzzler, but it's all about sort of trapping pieces in between two like-coloured ones and changing their colour. Here's the boss. It's very easy, but it's dumb and stupid and I love it. So all you have to do is just keep whacking the crocodiles in the face until they're all gone, while trying not to get hit by the little ones. Which is reasonably straightforward for the most part. Got to be careful that the ones coming from behind you aren't going to get you. Oh no, I'm dead. It's all over. Please try again. Heart. Oh, I love that game. I really love that game. I still really love that game. So yeah, I'm really happy that I've got a copy of that. So yeah, as monstrous as that high score table looks, I can assure you the high score table on the actual version of the game looks correct. As I say, I'm purely playing this pirate copy from the automation menus just to make capturing a little bit easier, because I've not got the hardware set up to capture directly from real Atari ST hardware, because they're all upstairs and my capture hardware is all downstairs, so it's not terribly convenient. Well, anyway, hopefully that was enough to give you an idea of how Rodland works, what it's all about, and why I love it so much. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. New episodes of Atari A to Z are on Tuesdays and Atari ST A to Z on Thursdays. Check out atari-a-to-z.wordpress.com for a full archive. Do please also check out my other projects moegamer.net, where I explore Japanese and Japanese-inspired games from yesterday and today, and videopackgames.wordpress.com, which aims to catalogue the small but well-formed library of the Philips G7000 Videopack computer, also known as the Magnavox Odyssey 2. You can also support my work on Patreon or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. you.